All right, and we're live. Hey everybody for stepping in. We're doing some of the pre-show stuff for the Inner Circle podcast, episode 77. Cal right now is out at the store getting some medicine for the kids. So we're going to be holding down the fort in the meantime, getting everything rolling. So, all right. So I got a couple things got on the docket tonight. Just real quick, checking in after the week. What you been up to, B Money?
Not much, man. Just playing a few games. Monster Hunter mostly.
Oh man, talking about that Monster Hunter, dude. I've been playing that. Well, first, because I know you picked up on both systems. Who you start with? You Xbox, PlayStation.
I started both of them on the same day. Just because I got two different groups of people that I play with. But I've been playing it mostly on Xbox today. So getting a lot of just story quests done and stuff like that.
Yeah. All right, not bad.
Yeah, really enjoying it, man.
What weapon classes are you sticking with so far?
I was using the I believe it's called the lance, which is like the staff or whatever. I was using that first, and then I ended up switching to like the sword that like changes to the axe. I forget what.
Oh, the switch axe.
Yeah, the switch axe. Yeah. So I ended up switching to that because as you get like further into the game, like that staff just isn't strong enough. You know what I mean? You getting in there and
now
taking out pretty.
When you say the staff, I'm torn between you're talking about the glaive or you're talking about
the glaive,
the actual lance.
No, the glaive.
Oh yeah, the glaive. Yeah, a lot of people went with the glaive, and it does not do that much damage.
Yeah,
but it's really cool for getting those aerial kills. And getting in there.
Yeah, it's nice because it propels you so high. It makes it a lot easier to get on top of the monsters and get that easy damage in. But it just doesn't do enough damage on its own, so I had to switch it up.
Yeah. For me, I just been playing on Xbox before I pick it up on PlayStation. I want to play on Xbox first because I'm game sharing. I wasn't sure if this was the game I wanted to throw in $120 for right off the bat. So I'm playing it out first, seeing how it goes. I started out with the long sword, the katana.
Yeah.
And so I was messing around with that for a little bit, and it was cool. Don't get me wrong, it was cool. But I don't know, I wanted to try something a little bit different. So I ended up going with the switch axe, and so I've been playing that for a while, and oh my gosh, that thing will do so much damage.
Yeah,
you can really lay into somebody.
Oh yeah.
You can really get in there. Like, it is a blast.
Yeah, really enjoying it, man. I've played Monster Hunter for a couple of years now, just on different platforms and whatnot. The last one being on the Wii U. And just going to this, it's not a traditional Monster Hunter game, so it's a little different. It's more welcoming than a traditional Monster Hunter game.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's the reason why it's been rated so high, and people, I see a lot more people, jumping in on it than you would ever see on a traditional Monster Hunter game. So it's nice to see Capcom, get that little bounce back. Resident Evil 7 was a nice return, and to come with this, at the same time, pretty much, what I mean? They came out last year in January and came out again this January with a nice little hit. So it's nice to see Capcom, hit us with that little bounce back and put out some decent titles.
Yeah, man. Capcom's kind of going through this like small little revival. At least that's what some would call it. I'm not sure we can qualify it just yet, because Capcom still puts out some pretty bad bombs. So I mean, I'm not sure if I can call it that, at least personally, but I don't know. What else has there been? There's been a couple things we do want to talk about later tonight. We'll talk about the Sea of Thieves beta. I've been playing that. Talk about Games Pass and the changes that were kind of rocked everybody's world a little bit. So that'll be pretty fun.
There's been some both positive and negative energy since that announcement has taken place. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah. So, 1 second. Sorry, trying to get things in order. Here in North Carolina, the weather has been absolutely crazy in terms of what it wants to do one day, and it totally changes its mind the next day. So this is what they call perfect flu season weather,
Oh
where
yeah,
it's
man.
like, oh, today it's 30 degrees, tomorrow it's 60, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and it is a pain in the ass. So I'm all right. Get some other stuff in order. Play a little PUBG. Oh, side news about PUBG, if you didn't know. Uh, if you have played PUBG before the 31st, I believe, you will be gifted 30,000 credits onto PUBG, and so you can buy crates and stuff with that. So that's
Oh,
pretty
that's
awesome.
nice.
So I'm like, heck yeah, finally. Because I've been playing a good bit. I wouldn't say I'm like, I don't play as hard as some of these other guys do. I'm not playing that much. But like I play mainly on Sundays. I'll listen to Iron Lords and I'll play the game and it's good. But they
Yeah.
normally reset your amount for crates, so it's normally like 700 starter. So how much have you played of PUBG so far? Because we've been about a month and a half now. Like,
I played it for like I played one match, and since it was not what I was expecting as far as the quality, I pretty much put it down. And I probably won't return to it until it has gotten a couple more updates, because I still see a lot of people, like I watch the gameplay and whatnot, and it still got like some rubber banding and some frame rate issues. And so for me, like if I'm playing anything that's competitive, I want it to be as close to as best as it can be.
yeah,
Because I'm just super competitive, and I would hate for something like silly, like rubber banding or something like that, to get me killed, and I'll be pretty pissed off about that. So
oh
for me,
yeah,
yeah, I'll wait until it's in a better light, and then I'll jump back in there.
I totally understand where you're coming from with that. Perfect example. When Master Chief Collection came out, you remember the state that was in when that game came out.
Oh yeah, oh yeah,
I played the first game, didn't have any problems. And like I say, I had never played like Halo 1 and 2. I never played the campaign for 3.
yeah,
And so I was just kind of like, okay, I'm going to play these for the first time, see what the big deal is, why everybody loves these games. I'll see what the deal is. So I finished Halo 1 and I was like, okay, it's fine, I guess. I'm not digging it, but it's like, okay, whatever. So I started playing the second one, and in the very first mission, I had audio issues and rubber banding in single player. I was like, how do you even rubber band in single player?
Oh man,
I
yeah,
was
man.
genuinely confused. I was like, how?
Oh man, Master Chief Collection was definitely like one of the worst disasters we've had. I mean, the
Like
potential and
I
everything
appreciate
was there, but
exactly. It was a perfect opportunity to have a decent remaster. It was
yeah,
well worth your money. Like that, it was a great opportunity, but they just screwed it up. I think they rushed it for production, and it was not ready.
yeah.
So
I'm intrigued to see what they do with it, because they say they were gonna update it this year
I don't even remember.
for the X. I
I
think
don't even remember.
they're gonna do some upgrades and enhancements for the X. So
hmm I genuinely don't remember what they promised they were going to do. So I just don't even care, honestly. The damage has been done to the Halo franchise for me personally. So that's why I don't take it personally. I'm just like, yeah, it's not for me. They
right, right,
because I gave it a chance. I gave it more than a chance, and this is what happened.
yeah,
So yeah, I appreciate it for what it is now. I like the more modern Halos personally. I've never understood why. Hey, I'm a super soldier who can't run.
Yeah, I mean, back in those times, I guess it wasn't that big a deal. But you try to go back and play it. It's definitely a reminder that you know times of today are better. You know what I mean? Because Halo 5 is just a much better experience.
Oh yeah, I gotta say Halo 5 is far and above the best Halo game personally,
Yeah,
especially in terms of mechanics. Like it really is. It's just stunning. You feel like a badass. You feel like feeling like a Spartan isn't just like a joke.
right,
So
right.
that's what I dig about it. So all right. So I guess we'll start getting into the show a little bit. We've kind of joked around a little bit. Let me get this thing rolling here. There we go. All right. Get the show rolling. I got to remember the intro. All right. Hello, welcome Xbonites to the premier podcast for Xbox, the Inner Circle podcast for all your Xbox news, enjoyment, and all that good stuff. You guys come here for us. And with KOR X Kalel, who is not here at the moment, who will be popping in a little bit later, and B Money 101.
Hey, what's going on, everybody?
And Anchorman V, fill in host for the moment. We are the Inner Circle. So we got a couple cool things we want to talk about tonight. A few little doodads across the board. For those who've been sitting down watching our YouTube group, you guys know we've been doing a little bit of pre-show talk, which is also one of the little exclusive things we do here. But real quick, before we kind of get into it, who out of the group here, who has played the Sea of Thieves beta? B-Money, you started it yet?
I have not, man. I'm still waiting on somebody to, throw me one of those codes, but I guess hasn't been lucky enough. So I guess
Yeah,
I'm gonna miss
man.
out this time, man.
I don't think you're gonna get one either way. This is something interesting. This is something I had not seen a company do for a little while now, at least in terms of how they set this up. So what happens a lot of time is the hustle has been you announce a game's getting a beta, you got a pre-order to get into the beta, and normally when you pre-order, you go to Amazon and they give you a beta code. They didn't do that this year. This is totally different.
Yeah,
Instead, what they decided to do was they tied your access to the beta to your DLC that you get for pre-ordering the game. And so, what happened in this case is if you pre-ordered on Xbox, what you got instead was you downloaded the Black Dog pack. Then it would show up the beta would show up in your you're ready to install the queue, and then you could download it from there. But there's no actual thing for you to say this is the code for the beta. So instead, people are going to have to be like, yeah, you can have my pre-order bonus. So, and also I think it's more of a tactical move because, like I said before, the hustle has been you go to Amazon, you pre-order, you play the game, then you cancel your pre-order.
right.
There's no money lost, and that's that. But now this case, you can actually argue no, you have the pre-order stuff. You have the pre-order bonus. No, you don't get a refund. You already took the product.
Yeah.
So I think that's more of a subconscious thing I think they're trying to do. I don't think
Yeah.
Microsoft could be the only one either, but I have played the Sea of Thieves beta, and I have been denied my birthright. Literally my birthright. They're launching Sea of Thieves on my birthday. They have denied me every other alpha test. I have been trying to get in ever since. I have not been invited to a single one. Checked my spam folder. I've checked everything. Nothing. I get nothing. But I do get those little feedback things saying, "Tell me what you know about what you like about the alpha."
Yeah, I got all those too, man. But no
Like,
code.
it's like, come on, man. Oh, don't do me like this. Why do you gotta do me like that? Oh man, that hurt. That hurt my soul being denied that. But it was
What do you
really
think
cool
about the
to.
beta?
All right, so to explain how I feel about the beta, I'll tell you what happened in the beta for my first time starting. So I started it off, and I was playing with Mike P. Truth, Fame Entertainment, and our new editor for the site, Samuel Tolbert. We were all playing together, and Sam had played before, but the rest of us had not played at all. So we started out on this big open area in one of the outposts. We get on our ship, and we're just trying to figure out what we're doing. we're like, okay, we're just gonna kind of sit around here. We're gonna sail around the ship a little bit. We put Sam on the helm. He's doing his thing. I'm running navigation, calling out stuff, looking where we have to go. We put Fame on anchor duty and running the cannons, and we got Mike running the mast and determining our acceleration. And we just walked around like for maybe 2 hours, just going nuts. We didn't collect any chests. We just killed everybody we saw. We would go from island to island. We would find other players, and we'd blow them out of the water, and it was absolute blast. And it was one time I was like, Mike shot me out of a cannon onto the enemy ship. So, it was great. Oh my gosh, it was so much fun. And then when we thought it was safe, we went to the outpost. All of a sudden, in the middle of the night, someone had snuck aboard our ship at night, took out all the lanterns, and then would assassinate us one by one. It was terrifying because you didn't know where he was. You don't know where he was. You didn't know where he was coming from. It was so terrifying, but it was so much fun. Oh my gosh, it was an absolute blast. And I gotta say, that water, oh my god. You could see it. You could see it in a stream. You can watch it in a video. It is nothing like playing it on your screen. Oh my god. It is just okay, you know how like Assassin's Creed Origins, when you saw like the desert and the landscapes looked so amazing.
Yeah.
And like on the X, this does the same thing but for water. It's peerless. I don't even know what to compare it to. Like
nice.
I mean, maybe the closest is like you know how like if you're playing GTA 5 and you're flying like on a helicopter along the coastline and you see all the detail, like the sea foam and everything, you're like, wow, that looks so good.
Yeah.
Like GTA just looks good from a distance. If you took that level of detail from the air, but then got right in front of it, and like you're literally looking down at the water from your ship, and it looks that good, that's how good we're talking. It looks that detailed. It is, oh my gosh. It brings a tear to your eye when you look at it for the first time. So, I mean, it's amazing, dude. I fell in love with it. Rare outdid themselves in that water. Like, that is just amazing, dude. I could go on and on and on about it, but so I want to bring up some of the controversy about that. So have you read the other articles that have been coming out a little bit lately?
Yeah.
About this thing. It's a bit interesting. So those of you who don't know, there was an article. Actually, there were a couple articles, but there was one in particular from Polygon that got a lot of heat. Basically, I think it was, I forget who the author was. I want to say it was Ben Kuchera, but I don't know for sure. They were writing this article saying, "Oh, PUBG makes me not PUBG, sorry, Sea of Thieves makes me feel sick. Ugh, like it's bad. It's a bad thing." I was like, okay, and like a lot of it is his experience. I don't hate on it because he says he felt seasick. I take that as a point of pride that it's that much of a simulation of sailing that you got seasick. But he was saying like one little thing is he wanted an option where you could put like a dot in the middle of the screen so you could have something to focus on. And I actually agree with that. I think there should be an option for that because some people they don't play first person games because it gets too into it. Like for example, my mom, she can't even watch somebody play Minecraft because
Yeah.
she gets motion sickness from that. So like I get the critique there. I'm like, okay, got it. So I totally understand that. But there was one little tweet in there that got my attention. It was a guy tweeting about. He said, "Oh, he was talking about there's in the game you have like a sea like was it mermen and mer people who if you get separated from your ship you can go to them and they'll teleport you to your ship. So what would happen in this case is their ship was sinking and so he's in the water and he goes to the mer person and gets teleported under the water to his sinking ship. And so then he's like, my agoraphobia is kicking in. Not agoraphobia, aquaphobia, which is irrational fear of water. And so I'm just sitting here like, dude, wait a minute. You literally chose to play a game called Sea of Thieves, a game that was very upfront about being a pirate game and about sailing.
Right.
And you're afraid of water. Why would you put yourself through that? Why would you do this? That's like me saying I'm gonna go play a game all about snakes. It's not happening. Like, I'm not gonna do that. But that was like really okay. But yeah, I want to kind of get your impressions on this. What have you been thinking about all the reception that you've seen so far?
I think it's for the most part it's been fairly good. I've seen a lot of people, who've had high praise on it. I think it was like the highest viewed game on Twitch, for the past couple of days. I think one stream had, almost 300,000 people watching the stream. So, it's definitely a hit, in the making. I think for Rare, and it's been a long time coming. I've always wanted, Rare to kind of come back and do their thing. So I've always been a fan of their work. But it's going to be interesting. Just from watching it, I haven't had a chance to get my hands on it. I've seen it only from like one player's perspective for the most part, because it's kind of hard to tell, just watching it, how fun it could be playing with other people. If you're just kind of watching, what's going on the screen. And in the beta, there just hasn't been enough stuff to kind of hook me for the most part. It just seems like you're running around and shooting skeletons and things like that. I'm hoping that in the main game there's more enemy types, and it's just more adventure to kind of jump into and dive into. So I'm still on the fence as far as if it's the game that's going to be for me, but I definitely want to get my hands on it and check it out.
Yeah, I mean, like in this one, I felt like what they gave us to do was just enough to get your feet wet, pun intended. Um, it was fun. They give you 3 missions which you can do, and the first mission is like a one chest kind of mission. Another one's like a two-part mission. Another one's like a 3-part mission. Um, what happens in this particular instance is what you will do is you start the match and you go get the thing and you all go and vote on which quest you want to do. And depending on whatever the quest is determines what their hints are. And so one of them we got like they gave us just a map of an island, and so we went and searched all the islands to find one that looked just like the one on the map. And we went there and like went to the part where it says X marks the spot and started digging where X marks the spot. Another mission that we got like another thing and it had riddles on it. And so it'd be like, okay, in the sunken grove or blank, 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 at the lowest point, go to the campfire and take 5 paces south. And so you're like, this is a big island. Where am I supposed to go? And so everyone's searching and looking for the clue. And it's like being a pirate. It's like, all right, cool. It's like it has missions like that, or you can go to you can find other sunken ships and try to find chests and barrels and stuff like that. It gives you just enough to do,
Right.
where it's fun, it's interesting, it's a fun game to play. But there does need to be a little more depth to it. But I don't think that they had to give us too much depth, at least right out of the gate. So,
But was there like any in any of the missions? Was there like any main boss or like an old pirate or anything like that you had to
no,
take down?
nothing like that. I
Okay.
know that I know they were doing an interview and they were talking about how they wanted to approach the Kraken. They confirmed there's going to be a Kraken mission. They're
Yeah.
gonna go fight a Kraken at some point, and they said they kind of want to treat it like the raid in Destiny. Like you're gonna
Mhm.
have some preload to it. You're gonna do like you're gonna go to an island, do some summoning ritual, or do something like that, and then the
Right.
Kraken is summoned, and then you everybody goes and fights the Kraken together.
Right.
So, but you definitely see like there's a lot of balancing issues you got to worry about with that game. Where how many is like too many people to a ship? Like I
Yeah.
personally would like to have 5 people on a ship because I think that's just enough to do every role, and then have like that's enough for everyone's busy and everyone's running fine. But I think that's one of the trade offs between like a 2-man ship versus a 4-man ship. But
Right. Right.
look who decided to show up to his own show now.
Hey man, I got kids, bro. Be tough out here in these streets. My kid's sick. My son got an ear infection. Hey, you know, these kids are getting sick from this flu, man. This flu is devastating.
Yeah, man. No doubt.
Yeah, man.
It's crazy out here.
Yeah, so you know, you got to be careful or whatever. My wife is sick. Everybody's sick. So, you know, I had to run out and get
Yeah,
some
so
stuff.
we were doing our impressions for Sea of Thieves. What'd you think? I know you had a good little time with it. What'd you think when you played?
Sea of Thieves was amazing, but and I want to get you know, Gamer Boss on here. Excuse
Craig
me, sorry.
Duncan.
I want to get Gamer Boss on. Yeah, I want to get Craig. I want to get Gamer Boss on here, Craig Duncan, to talk about it because I have a ton of questions to ask. You know what I'm saying? The game is great. I had a lot of fun. You know, bumping into somebody. It seems like you might bump into one or two people, like one or two pirate ships. It's not as many pirate ships as one would expect, and I kind of feel the realism in that because it's like if you're in the middle of an ocean and you're a pirate, how often are you going to bump into another ship? You know what I'm saying? Like it's not something that would really happen that often because the ocean is vast. I'm sure there's a lot of ships out there, but you know how often that would really happen. So in that, there's some realism. But you know, as we played the game, you know, we did the quest, we did the treasures and stuff like that. You know, we had fun swimming in the ocean, fighting sharks and everything. And you have these guilds that you sort of join or whatever when it comes to like, you know, whether you're going to do missions when it comes to money or mission when it comes to bounties or mission when it comes to hunting down, you know, evil skeletons and spirits and stuff like that for the other one. My biggest concern is after a while that becomes repetitive. You know what I'm saying? Every day you go in, you log in, you grab a map, you do the mission, you go hunt for whatever you're hunting for, and occasionally during the game you might bump into somebody that you get into a fight with. I feel like there needs to be a story or campaign behind this game. Now, it's not to say there's not. We don't know what could possibly be in the game, but I want to ask Craig about it because one of the other things is like there's no this ship customization, but it's not as in depth as I was hoping it would be because it's just basically a multiplayer game, and they put you on a ship. And I guess based on whoever is the host of that particular team gets the parts that they have purchased for their ship, so you gotta ride their ship or whatever. The one thing I will say is that it has a lot of camaraderie and a lot of teamwork, and it is not something that you're gonna enjoy playing by yourself. Because the first time you run into a 4-man crew and they just want to pick on you because you're in a little dinghy and they just want to gun down your boat after you work so hard to get this one treasure, you're going to be pissed off. And you're going to feel alone. So
I got to tell you a story, dude. So I was playing yesterday, and this is when I was by myself. So I played 2 times with a 4-man squad just to see what the deal was. And so I was like, okay, let me see what it's like playing alone. So I'm in my 2-man ship alone. I go out, go find a chest in a sunken group. So I'm just trying to head back. I'm not trying to do anything fancy. I'm just trying to go home. And so in the horizon, I see a 3-masted ship. I'm like, oh. And so I'm like, oh, man, how do I get out of here? And so I see a storm. So I start going into the storm. And they start firing cannons at me. I'm like, oh, no. And so I start going to this storm. I'm like, okay, let's just keep going, keep going, keep going. And so then they get turned around because I kind of slipped around them, but I got stuck in the storm. And so eventually I slammed straight into a rock because I couldn't see my hand in front of my face. It was just like, just slammed straight into it, went down below, patched everything up, and just bailed out the water, turned out all the lanterns so they couldn't find me.
Right.
I was like, okay, we're just gonna sit this out. We're gonna wait it through. We're just be patient, just be calm. It's gonna be okay. And so as soon as the storm's over, I start heading back. I see them right there. They're still following me. I'm like, oh gosh, leave me alone. I'm trying.
That's
to
how
die
it is,
here.
man. It's like you worked so hard to get that chest. You made it across the storm. You didn't sink. You got to the island. You fought the skeletons. You get the chest back to your boat, and a 4-man crew comes up and blows you away. And you sink, man. And it sucks. So it's like if you don't have a 4-man crew, like I did, which we racked up, man. I probably got 2,000 gold in that game, and I had a ton of fun to fight and kill people. One guy was trying to snipe my crew from the the bow of his ship, and I shot him right off the bow. And then 2 guys try to turn it, like 2 other crew members from his crew try to turn in chest, and I sniped both of them before jumping down and getting into sword fights with 2 other people and killing them. And I eventually got killed trying to sneak on their boat, and we didn't get a chance to seek the boat, so they kept respawning at the boat, and I got killed by those 2 guys. And I found some really cool chests. There's a chest that if you pick up, it kind of makes you drunk. So it's really difficult to carry. You like going right, you're going left, and it's like all wobbly and woozy, and the music is all wobbly and woozy. Then there's a chest that cries when you pick it up. It's like it's weird. And in the chest, if you leave it on your ship too long, it'll start to actually flood your ship, and you'll start sinking. So you have to constantly dump water out to get the chest back, which we did, and we racked up. We had like 700 something in one chest and like 500 in another, which was really dope. But again, my biggest concern in this game is the longevity of it, because when you initially play, it's going to be extremely fun. It's great. It looks good. It's gorgeous. It's definitely a day one buy for a lot of people, because they're going to be adding a lot of content to it as you go. But if you don't have something to entice people as a group and have them stay for something more than just consistent, I guess you could say, mission-based quest, like to go get this treasure here or find this person here, one of those type of things. It just feels like eventually people will feel like you're just doing side quests all the time, and it isn't nothing grand yet in the game. So that's why I want to get Craig on the show and talk more about it to see if he will explain some of the things or give us a look. And he said that he's willing to come on sometime mid-February, so that's great. So we'll try to book that and get him on the show.
All right. So, other thing that happened this week, I figure we should talk about this before people start getting pissed off in the chat like they already are. The Xbox Game Pass. So, Cal, I'll let you take over from here at the moment. So,
all right. So, listen, man, I meant to do a show this week early about this Xbox Game Pass thing. I know a lot of people. I won't say a lot of people. For the most part, Xbox fans have been pretty positive when it comes towards Xbox Game Pass. And you have some people here or there that are either disappointed or scared of what it may do to Xbox, because people feel like, oh, no one's going to buy the game now. Can I just say that no one was buying games, period? like when did all of a sudden games that weren't Halo, Forza, Gears knocking out big numbers? The good games that we did get early on, like a Sunset Overdrive, like like a Tomb Raider or Dead Rising or Quantum Break or whatever it is, even if they reviewed poorly or were average, they were still solid and good games. These games weren't numbers for Microsoft. And I'm not saying that it is a sales thing, because eventually, long term, they had legs, and most of those games hit over 1 million sales or 2 million sales or 3 or more. Halo being the biggest one to date. But what Game Pass does for Microsoft is it forces them to create. I don't think people understand how this Game Pass works. In order to keep people in the Game Pass, you have to be able to create. You have to be able to put out new content. Because as we all know, Game Pass is a system built on older titles, as well as BC titles and original Xbox BC titles. So if you're going to put first party games on there and they're going to launch the same day that they are supposed to release via retail or digital, you have to put original content on there, just like a Netflix system where you're putting content, new movies, new TV shows on there, every 2 months or every other month or whatever it is. Microsoft has to put themselves in a position where they're doing that, which means it puts them under a lot of stress to be creative. But here's the thing that people aren't recognized about Game Pass that makes this really, really crazy and really special. Let's say, for example, a mother, father, picks up Game Pass for $10. It's only $10 for the month. Or if they decide to go all out, if they do $60 passes, which I heard the 6-month passes, which I heard they're working on, which gives you access for 6 months. If they buy the pass for 6 months, then for 6 months you have access to all these games or whatever Microsoft drops via exclusively within that 6-month period. If one person who decides they're not buying Sea of Thieves, they're not buying Crackdown, they're not buying the next Forza game, just tries that game. If you get 1 million people to do that at $10 a pop, that's $10 million. If you have an install base of 40 million people, right? Everybody who says, I'm not buying Sea of Thieves, have now a reason to try it for $10, because most people would rather try than buy. The people who plan to get these games are going to get them regardless. It's not suddenly like you're a hardcore Xbox guy and you're like, you know what, I'm going to try it before I buy it. Most Xbox guys that are hardcore guys, if they see a game that they like, they're going to buy the game because they want the game. On the other hand, you have people who had no plans to buy the game. Imagine if Quarter Break was on here, right? Or even Crackdown, which most people feel like they're not going to buy Crackdown because Crackdown didn't look good. That was basically the biggest claim by so many fans. Suddenly, you have an interest to see if the multiplayer actually works the way they say it does. And you hop on Game Pass for $10. If 5 million people do that on a 35, 40 million install base, that's $50 million for 1 month. 1 month, that's $50 million for 1 month. And I think if you think about that, the goal isn't so much that they are making this for 1 month. The goal is that you sign up for it and you forget, because that's what we do with most subs. I don't know how many months I pay EA Access at $5 a month and barely use EA Access. But it would come out because it really wasn't noticeable. It's $5. Nobody notices $4.99 on a big check. And that stuff starts to add up. So for Microsoft, you're talking about major investment in first party, major investment in IP, because now you have a product that you are forced to create for in order to maintain the subs. You have instant money because the people who are interested in purchasing the game that wants to try it will try it. And then those who like the sub and still sub, you still get 20% off all of the brand new games that come out. All the games that come out on that platform, you get 20% off. The 20% of 60 is what? $12. So you pay $48 for a new digital title, and then you get 10% off all the DLC on top of that. So all DLC on top of that, you get an additional 10% off. Imagine if at the end of the holiday season, which normally Microsoft might release 2 or 3 exclusives within that holiday period, you can rack up just being in that program for $10. You can rack up on all these games and purchase them for 20% off, because the key word is they're not leaving that place. They're not leaving the Game Pass. These games aren't being rotated out, according to the Xbox team and Major Nelson that reported that. The games aren't leaving Game Pass. So they're permanently in there. So at the end of the holiday season, whatever Microsoft dropped, you can pick up all those games at 20% off and all the DLC at 10% off just for being in the Game Pass and save tons of money instead of spending $60 on a digital title. There's crazy incentives just to be a part of it, even if you don't play the older games. The biggest thing, though, is Microsoft has to produce games. And that is something that they have to do, whether little, whether small, whether indie, whether AA, whatever it is, they have to fill up that roster. And that's why you see third party interested in it, but they want to see what first party does. That's why you see them talking about picking up small games exclusively or, AA titles exclusively while they're turning around and investing in big AAA titles, because a lot of these games are going to start hitting Game Pass. And once Game Pass starts to really fill up with all these exclusive titles that you can only get on Windows 10 and Xbox or play anywhere, it becomes even more enticing at $10 a pop. And it's money in the bank consistently. And it builds you a cushion. So if Microsoft does produce a title that isn't good and it does flop, you got nothing but a bed of money like Scrooge McDuck to fall on, because you just raking it dough consistently between Xbox Live, the Windows Store, Xbox Game Pass. You got so much bread coming in off of 54 million people that's on Xbox Live right now. 54 million. You got so much money coming in. You have nothing but to fall on but money if a game flops again. And that's truly what they've been building for such a long time. Just a big cushion as a fail-safe so they can take more risk and invest more in first party.
Yeah.
There is no negative in this when it comes to them making money. Oh, and just one more thing, by the way. Why are everybody worried about the devs and what they're going to make when Microsoft pays them? They're first party. They already get paid. They already have their check. If anybody's going to get hurt, it's not the studios. It's Microsoft themselves as a company. And that is something that people overlook too. It's not the devs that get hurt. Devs don't care where the game goes, as long as they're getting their checks for producing the game consistently, because that's their job. They don't care. So you can expect that going forward. And I think Microsoft is making a big bet, and it's gonna be good for them long term.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, go ahead, B.
No, I said it's good for me. At the end of the day, you know what I mean? Like, at least for this year, the games they announced, all those games are kind of on the fence for. So now I can just wait to the end of the year, to December, once all the games are out. Hop on Game Pass for $10, check out all the games, move on. At the end of the day, it's consumer friendly. And, you know what I mean? That's what they've been doing this past, couple of years, is really turning the ship around and being more consumer friendly at the end of the day. And this is exactly what this is.
Yeah. I mean, I look at it like, okay, for me, I don't really care personally, because I probably won't use Game Pass, because to me personally, all the games I care about are mostly third-party games. But I thought of two things over it, because when they announced the news, I was kind of like, I was torn on it, because one, I really like the idea because it's more accessibility and more options for gamers to play how they want. But then at the same time, I would just, it's different, it's change, it's something I'm not used to, so I'm kind of like, all right, I mean, I don't know how this is going to fly. So I thought of two things. One, I thought of a buddy, Morganism. He plays on PC a lot, and so he plays on Xbox. Play with me and a couple other guys, on a good little bit, but he doesn't play that often. So what will happen a lot of the time is he will, he wants to play the newest, greatest game, whatever. Like, he wants to play a Sea of Thieves, but he doesn't want to plunk down $60 to find out we're only going to play it for 2 weeks, and then be like, oh, I'm only playing to play with you, and just things like that. He doesn't want to plop down like that to play that. And he could play it on PC, but this is more just as an idea. So so this is the kind of an option for him, which would be great, because he has a couple of games he plays regularly, like Rainbow Six Siege and Overwatch and stuff, where we play together. But for the newest game, for all he has to do, instead of spending $60 and maybe getting $30 back, maybe and losing $30 on it, essentially, he could pick up Game Pass, play the game. If we quit, fine, it's only $10. And he gets to play other games for the rest of the month if he wants to, or doesn't want to. It's fine too. It's an option for him to enjoy the time with somebody else. And it doesn't, it's a lower barrier of entry. And then I also thought about, like, I highly doubt Microsoft's going to be the only one doing this, where they're the only ones doing a, hey, we're going to launch same day and date on this service. I thought about Bethesda, because Bethesda just put out 3 big, great single-player games that got great Metacritic scores. People loved them. Dishonored 2, Wolfenstein 2, Prey. These games did very well and were good games, but did not sell that great, or nearly as great as they should have. And I'm thinking, like, okay, if you're Microsoft, here's an opportunity. You say, hey, Bethesda, why don't you plop down the next game that's going to come out there? I don't know, Dishonored 3 or whatever. Say, hey, how about that next game? We're not talking like Fallout or like the next Elder Scrolls. We're talking one of those smaller games. When that game comes out, how about you drop that same date on this day and date on this one? We'll pay you $10 million to keep it for a year on the system. We'll keep it on there. You drop a same day and date. You still sell it to PlayStation. You still sell it on Xbox. Sell it on the Switch. We don't care. Do what you got to do. But hey, it's a guaranteed $10 million. You can. This is a production cost. We're guaranteeing your production costs back. So everything you make after this is profit. Right. Now that's a sweet deal.
Like I understand a lot of people when it comes to Game Pass. Some people feel like they're gonna lose, $60 on a game. You have to understand, Microsoft understands their numbers. Okay, like a lot of us can be, Monday morning executives and talk about the decisions that Microsoft is making or what they're trying to do or what they're going to do. But only Microsoft understands their numbers. They look at Game Pass and see the potential of it, but something's holding it back. And it's the fact that a lot of the games that come out are just really 2 years old, 3 years old, older games. And I guarantee you the majority of games that's being played are their exclusives. Gears, Sunset, Halo, they see that. Recognizing that if they put games on there the day they come out is a big deal. Now, what I don't think people understand is Microsoft isn't all of a sudden not going to produce powerful hardware because of this direction that they're going when it comes to Game Pass. What Microsoft is introducing is another option for people to buy their games. You have 3 ways to play their games now. You have retail for those who don't have great internet and can download the games, pick it up. You have digital, which a large majority of the world is now playing digital or on its way to playing even more digital titles. And now with Microsoft, you have a sub. So if you don't have the bread, if you just want to try it, it is for the mom and pops and the people who don't want to spend $60 on a game. You can do that. If you say, for example, if Microsoft was to drop, like this year, we have Sea of Thieves coming. You might have a Crackdown coming, a Forza coming. There's a couple of indie titles that's probably going to be first to console on a platform as well, which for that time being will be exclusive. I could see a ton of those games dropping. The Last Night could be in there. Ashen could be in there. Now, how does that add up after you pay $124 a year? If you got 3 games, if you play Crackdown, Sea of Thieves, and if you play Crackdown, Sea of Thieves, and you play Forza for the year, you've already paid less than you would have if you bought it if you stay in the sub. If you don't stay in the sub and you only wait to the end of the year to pay $10, you get all those games at a less price than you would if you weren't in the program. And in no instance does it not benefit you as a gamer. Microsoft will continue from here on going forward and producing nothing but powerful hardware. That is going to be their direction over the next course of X amount of years until they get to the point to where they're using Azure to produce games, because it's coming. Right now, Microsoft is in a focus where it's all about ecosystem, Xbox Live, and then the devices that they own that you can run their platform on. At some point, and I truly believe this just based on what they've been doing, I don't think anytime soon right now, but at some point, you're going to get to a point to where hardware becomes redundant and you can only do so much on it. Where photorealism is never going to be matched. At some point, it's going to be like, we're trying, but we can't get to that point because you can't fit the type of power you need in that box. Even though technology constantly shrinks, this is one of the things that I've read where they talk about graphics cards and getting to that point of photorealism and trying to get games to look that way. But you could do that on the server. You could do that. Now, that day that comes, that's not something I want to do. I don't want to stream games. I always want to play my games on my platform, either digitally or retail. I always want to own my game, either retail or own the license. Whatever it is, I want to be able to control it. But to say that it might not happen one day, or it might not, other companies might not follow suit, would be short-sighted because of just the way technology is. Got into a big argument on Facebook about digital sales and how someone was distraught, literally, about digital sales and that they only want to do retail. And I'm like, Mike, do you understand gaming is almost like the last, it's still kind of like in a retail format. Like you still have DVDs, don't get me wrong. But in each instance, as technology moves forward, the old formats die out. We went from, you know, the old Betamax stuff to VHS to, you know, CDs and DVDs. Now you got MP3s. All music is damn near digital. You know how hard it is to find a CD of somebody's album nowadays? They don't even count platinum sales anymore. It just count singles or whatever you purchased off of iTunes and digital sales.
How many times it's been streamed?
How many times it's been streamed?
Yeah, how many times it's been played on Spotify?
Yep.
That's what I'm saying. You look at how many people have downloaded or rented movies digitally or purchased them digitally. I'm not saying it's putting Redbox out of business, but even Redbox has a digital system. That's just technology moving forward. And at some point, you cut out the middleman. Imagine being $1 billion company and saying you no longer have to sign a contract with Blu-ray to have them produce games for you. You no longer have to work with a retailer to produce games for you. You know, sell those games. There's no middleman. You produce the product and send it to the consumer right through your own store. Any business would want to do that. Any business would want to do that. But you also have a lot of people out there that aren't into digital because they don't have the infrastructure to download those games or play those games at high fidelity. So they need retail and they need a box to play it on. And that's the world we're in right now. So Game Pass is a great feature for anybody who wants to hop in it, who doesn't have the money, but wants to try the game, wants to play the game. No matter how you look at it, Microsoft makes bank. In no instance do they not make money. Even if people don't buy the game, they make money just on a try for that month or 2 or 3. And then if people do buy the game, they make money because the fans who are going to buy it regardless. So, I mean, at the end of the day, it's just a great move for Xbox. You know what I'm saying? It really is. It's a great move. I can't see any negatives with it.
And also, like, look at a thing like Netflix. Netflix, and this is one of the thing everyone's been saying. Like, it's they've always compared it to Netflix, and I think it's the most apt comparison because this is the closest we've ever gotten, where it's literally digital titles. You can watch and play as much as you want, and it's $10 a month, and that's it. And this is a great opportunity for them, and like they're going to have original content that is going to push this forward. And like, okay, like Netflix. When you watch Netflix, how many people do you know goes and gets a Netflix subscription, and then like, oh, I watched the movies I wanted to watch, I'm canceling it, and that's it. No, they just don't watch it. They keep the subscription going because you never know when you're going to watch something else or do something.
Yeah,
like it just is like if you know Sea of Thieves is coming out in March, and you know State of Decay 2 is coming out in April, why would you cancel it? Why
would you cancel it the next month? May? Exactly. Right. That's the goal. If Microsoft can figure out a way to put out enough content where things are coming out every month or every other month, whether it's a small title or AAA or AA title, you have something. If you can convince a third party to lock up with you exclusively and release your game in Game Pass for the month first, that's another incentive for somebody to stay in Game Pass. And third party is watching. They want to see how successful first party is first. And if it is successful, imagine getting third party games like Cyberpunk 2077.
No. It'll be smaller studios, little games.
In the air.
Right. But what I'm saying, I'm just saying, imagine getting that and what that would do for that platform. That's the end goal.
I think you're going to see people like I think you're going to see people like Rebellion jump on this, with Strange Brigade. Bethesda, I think, will jump on board with some of their smaller titles. I think you're going to see a bunch of little small studios, maybe Overkill or Star Breeze, where they don't have that big of an install base, but they know if they can get you to play, you're sold. They know that's what they got to get you to do, but it's just getting people in the door. Like all the AA studios, like Focus Home Interactive. Me and B Money have been praising them for so long. Like, this is something that could really sell it.
Yeah.
Let's say Vampire was on Game Pass. Oh my god. Like that would be a big selling point to a lot of us.
But this is the reason why I don't really compare it to being like Netflix just yet. I compare it to more of like a HBO Go or like a Stars, to where, like, you know what I mean? Everybody
selection.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Just because of the selection. So like everybody subscribes to HBO Go when, you know what I mean, one of the big shows are out, like Game of Thrones, or like, you know what I mean, Stars, when like Power's there. You know what I mean? People will stay and subscribe for that, and then once it's done, they move on. So it's going to be very important for Microsoft to keep the content flowing, and if they can get third party to jump in there, you know, that'll help subsequent, you know, between the titles that they have releasing. So this first year is going to be very interesting to see who's got their eyes on it and who may take that plunge first, because that's also like a risk that you're taking with other partnerships. You know what I mean? If you're the big third party, let's just say it's Bethesda, right? Bethesda says like, all right, you know, we're going to put the next Dishonored game on their day and date. You know what I mean? Or yeah, let's just say, yeah, Dishonored.
Right.
So then, you know, since Sony or like Nintendo doesn't have this sort of program, they're looking at them like, huh, you know what I mean? Why should we either, you know, try to do a marketing deal or anything like that, throw any extra cash to you if that's the route that you're going? You know what I mean? Because eventually that could, you know, change the way that people buy games on those platforms, and that would force everybody to go to one platform. So exactly. But for third party, that is very, very tricky. You know what I mean? Because you got to remember that third party is available to everyone on every other console.
Oh, no, I definitely get that. I agree with you.
And not just Microsoft. So it's a catch-22 for a third party, but it's going to be interesting to see who's the first one to jump in that boat and take that ride.
I completely agree with you. It's definitely risky for major third party. You know what I'm saying? But I think what it becomes is, again, like you said, it's like Stars right now, because you only have exclusives from Microsoft on there. You know what I'm saying? My thing is that even if you jump in and out of something, you still have people that's going to buy it. Hand over hand, you're going to have people play the game. Let's say, for example, you have, let's say, 500,000 people buy Sea of Thieves day one, and another 1 million people sub just to try it. And for that 1 week or 1 month, they enjoyed themselves playing Sea of Thieves, and they want to continue because they've met new people playing the game. You know, that turned in from 50 million sales to 100 million sales in 2 months. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I don't think people, and then let's say, for example, everybody left within that 2-month period. You still made $100 million in 2 months. And then 3 months later, you pop back in. I don't think Microsoft sees it as a negative if people don't stay. It's just when you pop in, do you pop in, and how long are you in it? And if they can keep you in there and occupy it long enough for them to make X amount of money and get people to continuously sub, even when something drops, like you said, like on Stars, when Power comes out, I don't have Stars right now, but damn sure when Power comes back on, I'm gonna hop on Stars. I don't have HBO right now, but when Game of Thrones come back, I'm gonna hop on Game of Thrones. How long are those seasons? About 2 months?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's 2 months of me paying for HBO and Stars probably at the same time, because they normally release around the same season. So now I'm stuck paying that. And that's normally what happens with this subscription service. You're normally in a situation where you pay for something, you don't notice it, and you're still paying for it, even if nothing's in there. And then if another game comes out, you're like, oh, well, I'm not going to miss this game. I want to at least try it. Let me stay in there and try it. And it might be something you never played before back in the day that you want to play. Halo 4, Halo 3, Halo 2, all the Gear series, the Forza series, something from OG Xbox like Knights of the Old Republic or Ninja Gaiden or whatever they decide to put on the platform going forward. And if you're able to get lucky to get a Dishonored, if you're able to get lucky and get a let's say like a 2K or something like that in there the day it comes out, along with it, now you're really talking about taking it to a next level, and it's making the other guys look at it like, wow, this is something that we have to do. We got to do something about this, because now you see Microsoft making money through this system. For them, it's all about profit and investment and engagement. If you can do that, consoles don't matter when it comes to sales. I keep telling people that a lot. Sony can have 100 million consoles sold. You got to keep in mind that most of the time when consoles initially sold for the first couple of years, they're sold at a loss. And then later on, they make money. But by that time, it's depreciated so much, you barely make that much money. The money is in games. The money is in subscriptions. The money is in consistency when it comes to sales. And if Microsoft has 3 facets of that working, if they can produce enough content to make sure that's constantly flowing, they are in the bank. We're going to be getting a lot of games going forward.
Yeah, I can see it next 3 to 5 years. It could be a booming service, but for me, I'll just hold off to the end of the year and see how it gets rolled out, man. E3 is going to be a big turning point. You know what I mean, for all these consoles, I think this year, we really see the direction that everyone is going. So, it's going to be interesting.
Right. We have anything else on the agenda?
Not much, honestly. I wasn't sure what else I wanted to talk about.
You guys talk about Monster Hunter?
Of course.
A little, yeah.
Can I just say that, first of all, I spent an hour on my character. Shout out to Japan for putting black characters in.
Yeah, man.
Monster Hunter.
Yeah, man.
I really appreciate that. Really do. They didn't have to do that, but I truly appreciate that. Also, was I the only one that got a little soft when I found out about the cat? Because when I saw my cat, I was going through the cats, and I'm like, you know what? These are pretty cool. Then I found one cat, and I was like, this cat is freaking adorable. You know what I'm saying? I literally had to take a step back, like, whoa, pause. But this cat is freaking adorable. I literally spent 30 minutes on the cat trying to get the right fur, the right color. You know what I'm saying? Make the cat the best cat I could make it. It was dope. I wind up naming my character Yasuke Nobunaga, and my cat name is Lionel. And true story. Do you know who Yasuke is?
No.
Anchor? All right. True, actual, factual story. Yasuke is a black samurai from 1581 to 1582 who was the bodyguard of Oda Nobunaga.
Now I know what you're talking about, but I didn't know the name, but I had heard that before.
I've never known ever that was factual. I never knew that.
That was a real deal.
That's real. There's going to actually be a TV show about it coming out soon.
Was it there? He came over from like Europe originally.
Yeah, from Europe with the what's it called? The Jesuits, the guys who was preaching Christianity to different people. Yeah. And Nobunaga was so blown away by his skin, he asked him to take his shirt off from the waist up and scrub his body to see if he had ink on his skin. And when he realized he didn't, he just became enamored with him. Taught him martial arts, how to be a samurai. He learned Japanese. He was imposing because he was 6 feet. And back at those times, most Japanese were like 5 foot even, or like 5'1".
Most Europeans were short as hell.
Right. So he was like 6'2", according to the history. So he was already an opposing figure, and he made him his bodyguard, and he ennobled him. Like, he literally made him a noble. Had his own crib and everything, but it was short because then they rebelled against Nobunaga, and he killed himself, and his son killed himself, and then they kicked him out of the thing or whatever. I was blown away by that. So yeah, I named my guy Yasuke Nobunaga, which I thought was very dope, and I'm looking forward to studying more about that. And then the cat Lionel. And I had a blast initially playing it until I got into the menu. And it was just input overload. There was so much stuff in that menu, in the items, in the crafting. My brain started to hurt. I'm like, dude, this is a lot to take in all at once. So I spent a long time just kind of like sitting around the game, trying to learn how to do things and stuff like that. And, you know, I got a chance to fight some monsters. I'm at the part where you fight the creature with like the wings, and he kind of looks like a...
Oh, is it Puke Puke?
Yeah, Puke.
Oh, the one that throws up?
Yeah, the one who throws up.
So that one's hard as hell. When you're playing alone.
I didn't fight him yet. Yeah, I didn't fight him yet. I'm waiting for my homeboy to catch up and stuff like that. And then I'll probably send out a SOS and get him to help me fight it. Because he just got the game and he just started playing.
SOS doesn't work.
Oh, it doesn't?
Now, so don't bother.
I realized that because when you go to the hub, there's nobody there. Like when you're trying to do 4-player co-op, nobody's on. Like nobody joins your game. Nothing.
Yeah. Well, no, the way they holy crap. The way they have it set up currently is that you can have people in the world, but they do not show up in the hub. They're technically in your same session. They're just not in the world. They're not in like the world where they're not walking around with you.
Right.
It's really dumb.
Yeah, no, Monster Hunter is a great game. I highly recommend picking it up. I'm having a lot of fun with it so far. I get nervous at night. You know, I don't like scary crap. And with monsters roaming around randomly, you know what I'm saying? I stay running. Like, what is that giant dinosaur-looking creature, the Anguid thing, whatever? Yo, that thing comes out of nowhere. Like, it doesn't even pop up on my screen. I just be walking. Yeah, I be walking, and then out of nowhere, the thing just comes from the left. I just panic and just book a U-turn and start running. Like, nah, bro, can't do it. But it's fun. I'm excited. I can't wait to get more game time in and stuff like that. Yeah. But listen, guys, I apologize. I missed half the show. I will definitely be back next week working on some stuff. Getting my PC soon, so I'm excited about that and everything like that. So listen, let's do this Q&A because it's late. I want to go ahead and end the show. I want to thank Anchorman for hosting while I stepped away. It's good to have the Trinity here, and I want to thank everybody for stopping out again. So yeah, check us next week, Saturday, around 10 to 10:30 p.m. for the next episode of Tick Podcast, premiere podcast for Xbox, as well as Iron Lords, which comes on tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern, Multiverse that comes on Mondays at 8 p.m. Eastern, and of course, check out 2XP, our debate show with Fame Entertainment representing Xbox and Nicodemus X representing PlayStation over on Fame Entertainment's channel or here when the upload hits, normally Wednesdays at 8 p.m. And that's it for tonight's show. So we're going to do the Q&A. I'm going to end it for the MP3 crowd, and you can catch this episode and last week's episode on iTunes, Stitcher, and other podcast apps. I'm your host, KLYX Kal-El, with B Money 101 and Anchorman V, and we're off this planet. Peace. All right. So yeah, man, listen, big shout out to everybody that's in the chat. I want to thank everybody for stopping out. Zedpo, Edge, The Truth, Dangel B, yeah, Foul, of course, Andrew Wilson. I know you're a PlayStation guy, you know, and sometimes you can be a little crazy with your thought process with PlayStation, but appreciate you stopping in and thank you for the donation. Grateful for that. And I also appreciate the compliment. You know, Drew says something about how, you know, we get a lot of executives on here. We work hard. We put out a lot of news, but we don't have the subs. You know, it's cool, man. I understand that. It can be difficult if you don't drag other consoles down because half your subs is people that hate you. You know what I'm saying? Well, like half the subs are people that want to hear the nonsense that you kick out today. You know, it doesn't matter if you're Nintendo, PlayStation, Xbox, or whatever it is. If they want to hear the nonsense you kick out today, so they can literally trash you in the comments section. You know, I don't think that's healthy for, you know, the crowd that we want to have listen to us and stuff like that or whatever. It's not conducive to what we want to do. So yeah, we might not have massive numbers or whatever, but the people who show up are very important, and I'm glad that they like our show and come listen to us every week, because we try to produce a good quality show and talk about games. Something that most podcasters don't talk about nowadays. You know, we try to talk about games and we try to talk about what's going on in the industry. and of course, what's going on with Microsoft. So again, I want to thank Chief Tommy. I know I missed some of these guys that were on earlier in the chat, but thank you guys for stopping out. Chicken Spaghetti, Brap, shout out to Brap, Enrique, Trickstar, and of course the Mac of all 10. All right. So if you guys got any questions, go ahead, ask the questions. I will go ahead and the team and I will try to answer as much as we can.
See that we already have one question. I just thought What's one. That? Let me pull this back up. Who asked that one? Someone asked, I can't see, I think it's Foul. Asked about the data mine. Oh, yeah, Foul Doverkin asked, did you hear about the Sea of Thieves data mine? Yes, I have. One thing I saw was that they said that they got harpoon guns.
I haven't heard anything about it. Here's what I would love for them to have in Sea of Thieves. I would love for them to have all types of sea creatures. Like literally, I feel like they should have sea kings in the game. This should be like a giant anglerfish. This should be like a giant eel. You know, you got the Kraken. There should be like a megalodon that's like huge and that can like really destroy your ship. And you got to fight them and stuff like that. They should have like whirlpools in certain parts of the ocean randomly pop up. And you have to like catch the wind at the right time to get out of the whirlpool or be sucked into the bottom of the ocean and your ship gets wrecked out. Oh my God, it'd be amazing.
Yeah, man.
So what kind of sea creatures are in the sea now? Is it just sharks?
Sharks.
Just sharks.
No,
there's supposed to be mermaids and mermen.
There are,
but it's just sharks right now.
Well, no, there's mer people in there. Just the way that one works currently is that they work as a teleportation system for like if you fall out, this is how you get back in.
But I've seen it where they actually have an army of mermen under the water with you.
Oh my God, that sounds terrifying.
Yeah, like you're in the water and you're hunting for treasure, and like you come out and there's mermen with like tridents and crap swimming towards you, trying to kill you or something, or try to help you or something like that. I'm not sure, but I've seen that in one instance. I just think it would be really dope if, like, you know, you went to certain places and then with skeletons, you know, skeletons are cool. It's repetitive, but it's cool. I would love for them to have like the British Armada randomly be out there, like policing the waters. And like you have to not only deal with regular people, but you have to deal with CPU police and army, and they're chasing you down and you're fighting them. Man, that would be epic. That would be dope just to see like the British flag on a boat coming towards you as you're trying to escape or something like that, or you have to get into a fight with them. I just think that'd be epic. That's how it should be. You know, that would really fill everything out besides just the side missions and stuff like that. It would really make it feel like a true adventure.
Yeah, I would rather have it so like you don't have other players or actual players, but like I would rather have you like have armies of skeleton people on their own ships chasing you or something like that. I feel like that would fulfill the same
That's
need,
what I'm saying.
But it doesn't have to be like the British necessarily.
That's what I'm saying. Like if you can figure out a way to get like skeletal ships that come at you, like ghost ships, which is dope.
Oh, that'd be terrifying.
And then you have like the British Army coming at you. Plus you got to deal with stuff in the ocean, all while trying to get to an island. It was like one or two or maybe four other ships in the world with you. So not only you got to deal with that, but you got to deal with real people. Oh my God, bro. How intense would that be? And when you get into a storm, it's nuts. The way the ocean rises and how high your ship goes and the way it drops down. Bro, you can't even see at the front of your ship when it hits like that. And your ship gets wrecked if you're in the ocean too long. And the clouds look amazing when they move. I'm just going on now. I'm over the end. Look, it's great. I love the game. I hope a lot of that stuff is in there, man. It would be amazing if they did that.
Yeah.
Let me see here.
I sent you guys something in the Twitter chat. That side thing.
HXLX, do you think Microsoft will at some point announce the entire Game Pass library can be streamed to Xbox Windows 10 for no extra cost?
I think eventually it will, but not like anytime remotely soon.
I think what
Because
Microsoft,
I think if they're gonna do that, they're gonna make sure that you can stream it like 1080p 60. They're gonna make sure you can do all that, but they're not gonna do it
you
anytime
know,
soon.
you know what I think? I think the day they decide to stream it is the day they rolled out their broadband infrastructure. Like, Microsoft was working on building their own broadband infrastructure. I mean, actually be a part of the broadband race. If you're able to get like high speed fiber optic internet with Microsoft, I would not be surprised if they included Game Pass for free with your broadband. Because you could just stream it right to your television. That would be nuts.
You would have a direct. You'd have a direct. You'd have a direct competitor,
line, bro.
You have a direct competitor: Google, Time Warner, Comcast, everybody. You have a direct competitor as big as Microsoft. Right. It would be the ultimate gamers deal, like you, because if they did that, they would have a whole gamers section. Like this would be the gamers internet provider.
Right. Everybody will hop on that. Exactly. High speed internet. Plus you get access to Game Pass through that service, straight streaming to your TV or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Or I don't know, bro. But I'm trying to tell you, Microsoft is doing some stuff on the low. Let me see.
While we're waiting, do you guys see that Tick Memes account?
Yeah, who is that? Is that you?
No, it's not. I wish it was me though. Jeez, man, I'm dying.
Nah, it's funny because you was like, "Look, he's begging," and it's like, "Notice me, senpai." I started laughing when I saw that. I was like, "Who is this person?" We don't know who Tick Memes is. I kind of like that, but I'm scared at the same time. Like as soon as he do something crazy, I'm like, we got to get this thing banned, though.
No, apparently he's struck over the podcast. I sent you his tweet in the Twitter chat.
Yeah, I gotta see who this person. I want to know who this person is. Yeah. Any other questions, guys? Let me see. Hey, Loot Chest Radio is in here. Hey, thank you, Loot Chest Radio. Appreciate you stopping in. Our infrastructure to our homes is the hurdle. Luch, I guess he's talking about. Did my phone just die? My phone just died. Unbelievable. I guess he was talking about the hurdle when it came to Microsoft and the infrastructure is, as far as getting the technology in homes, is the infrastructure of people's homes and stuff, because a lot of the stuff is already pre-built in, which is true. It's like, for example, one of the issues that I had was I had Fios at first with Verizon, which ran the line upstairs into a room over my garage. And that room used to be my game room before I had my daughter. And then my wife kicked me out of that room, and now it's my daughter's room. So I have to do all my stuff downstairs in the living room, including the podcast, but it was Wi-Fi upstairs. And I wasn't getting a good signal, which is why I would bot a lot. I would have issues and stuff like that. Could put that down here. Why don't I have a line down here in my living room? And they said I can get one, but I would have to pay $150 for them to come, put a hole in my wall, and literally run the line through the wall and literally, put everything in. And I'm just like, nah, B. Like, I'm not doing that. You know what I'm saying? It's not happening. So I never got it. So I just wound up canceling and going back to straight coax cable and Bright House, which is now Spectrum. I had that downstairs in my living room, and now I have better service. But my upload speed is really, really low compared to what I had with Verizon. Before I had 75 over 75. Now I have 100 download and like 25 upload, but it seems to be working great. So, I'm not complaining. Big improvement over what I used to have. And so infrastructure of the houses and getting Microsoft into the home is definitely a hurdle. I can see that. Do we have any other questions, Anchor? Because my phone just died and I can't read any other questions.
It says, one guy says, did you notice that Microsoft took away the 12-month option for Game Pass? They never had.
I didn't know there was a 12-month.
There was no 12-month option.
Yeah, it's always been $10 a month.
They've never offered one. Up. Like they literally just now said they're going to roll out a 6-month option next month.
I said this Microsoft needs to have a new tiered system. And here was my thoughts on it. Now, hear me out. I said that silver is silver. You don't have gold. You don't get free games. You don't get discounts. You have chat. You can join parties, but you can't play multiplayer. You have gold. You get deals with gold. You get deals. You get deals with gold. Free games with gold. You got your multiplayer. You got your chat. Then you have platinum. Now, platinum gives you everything with deals with gold, right? But then you get one free HD movie a month for the whole year for 12 months. One credit for $6, and you get EA access for free because it's only $35, and that is $139.
That was the one thing I forgot to bring up.
I disagree
on the podcast, but go ahead and let you finish, and I got something.
I said that should be $139 for the year. I did the numbers, right? And the reason why I said it should be $199 for the $139 for the year is because there's no way Microsoft makes that $100. Like, it doesn't happen, because if you count all of the free moves that they give you plus the 35 for 30 or 35, whatever it is for EA access, it comes up to over like $150 total when you add Xbox Live. So your discount is going to be like a good 20, maybe $25. Like, think about it. Groove was $120. They only took $20 off for you to sign up for 1 year, and it was $99. So Microsoft's not going to go that low. And then if you add EA access, if you add Game Pass to it for like a diamond tier, that's $120 on top of the $139. So I said it should be, in the 200 range, because you think about it, you're getting over 100 games through EA access. You get all the sports titles. You get over 100 games with Game Pass plus all new releases. You get EA access, which gives you access to all of EA's titles plus basically the majority of the sports games that release: FIFA, Madden, minus 2K, but even Live was pretty good after playing it the free weekend. You got deals with Gold, which gives you, big discounts on games. You get free games every month, up to like 4 every month, 2 backwards compatible, and then 2 Xbox One X games. Xbox One games or whatever. And then if you were able to get a free HD movie with that once a month of your choosing, 1 free rental, 1 HD, not 4K, because that's a lot more expensive than a regular HD film. For $200, I would pay that. I would pay that for $200. Honestly,
the best way for them to roll that out too is just do it monthly, the same way that they do Game Pass. Mm-hmm. Just offer platinum. It's going to cost you $200 a month or $200 period, but just roll it out at $15 a month.
You have to break it up like $15 a month. Yeah, like $15 a month or something like that, like $20 a month.
Yeah.
For the whole year, and you get access to all of that, dude. That would be like, you would never buy a game,
right?
You wouldn't buy games. Like, you would have so many games to play, and then movies, and then deals that you wanted to buy. You get discounts on everything. You get free games. That's a lot. That's a lot
that's when you fully locked in.
If you subsidize it right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you fully locked in.
That's when you fully locked in, and that's how you would definitely get everybody fully locked in. You know what I mean? If you approach it that way,
right?
But I forgot to bring this up on the actual podcast. But what do you guys think about Microsoft approaching EA and having them, cancel EA access and just roll that into Game Pass?
That would be humongous, but I doubt they do. That'd be too much of a deal, because then you raise the price of Game Pass to like, $15 a month. That's what it would have to be, because you're paying $5 for EA access monthly and $10 for Game Pass. And then what happens when EA decides to put it on PlayStation, if they do?
But isn't EA access, you can get the whole year for like $30, right?
Yeah. You can get the whole year for $30. Yeah.
So but
if you do monthly, it's $5.
Right.
I don't know.
I feel that would be like the perfect avenue for them to get a third party, because they already have EA access. It's been on their platform for the longest at this point. Mm-hmm. There's still some games that are on EA access that are not available in Game Pass. You know what I mean? And then you got like all these subscriptions, going on one platform. If they could approach EA and say, hey, we've done well by you. We've, allowed this subscription to be on our platform. How would you feel if we gave you X amount of dollars and everything that the features that you had on EA Access are now moved to Game Pass. And and they can release games day and date in Game Pass. I think that would be like super huge, and then that would be like the first step to where third party is like stating a
Could you
claim.
imagine if Madden was launched the day it came out on Game Pass? How many people would sign up, bro?
Oh, dude,
exactly. Because
that would make sense. Like
they
you
got
play
the
for
Madden
3
marketing
months,
anyway.
$30.
They've been doing this since forever. So at that point, it's just like, and didn't EA talk about how their sports titles could go to a subscription based model because they release the games every year. Okay. And if you look at EA Access, most of their games are sports titles because that's what they mainly release. There's some Need for Speeds in there, things like that.
It becomes a thing where Microsoft now has to work with EA in a contractual agreement,
right?
And you have to keep that. You have to keep that platform. You have to keep that platform off of PlayStation and Nintendo.
Yeah,
that's the only way I think. You have to lock. You would have to lock that program up, put it in Game Pass, make Game Pass even more enticing, and then you bundle it together. Maybe they could have a bundle.
They'd have to make some changes, though. That's the only thing, because the way with Game Pass currently, they don't offer any trials, and that's the thing that EA is offering that people dig about it. That's like, okay, $5, I get a trial for a month. I can try a game early, see if I like it, and that's kind of it.
Yeah, but if you throw it in Game Pass,
I just don't like Microsoft doing that. Like Microsoft wouldn't offer that; they take away that feature.
Yeah, the trial would be gone, but you get the game the day it comes out anyway. So you're gonna try for the $10 a month, and if it ain't down, then just move on, or $15 or wherever it needs to be.
I think that would be a good out. That'd be a very good out if EA is realizing this is not that profitable. This isn't that great.
But that's the thing. It is profitable, though. It is definitely profitable. You can see that it's profitable for them because people still like. I'll go in and I'll play it for I'll get Game Pass for 3 months and play UFC.
I mean, is it though? Like, is it really that profitable? Like, is it hurting their bottom line? Because every time I see EA Access in the news, it's always some exploitative something, where it's always like, hey, go to EA Access so you could try out Mass Effect Andromeda, or Mass Effect Andromeda, and everyone hates it because of the EA Access trial. Everyone got to play it early, and they said, "Oh, this is BS. This is bad."
I'll be honest with you. I think Microsoft sees the potential in EA Access with that trial.
Yeah,
what made them decide to do that?
But I mean, it's not just that though. Like, it's just the idea that with EA, like it seems to be that every time EA Access comes up, it's always in how in relation to how it's hurting them. It's always like, oh yeah, Mass Effect, Mass Effect Andromeda is the latest thing that came out, so that's why I'm citing this a lot. All my friends in particular, unless it's a new Battlefield, they've already come to the conclusion I'm not buying any EA title because in 6 months it's going to EA Access. Why would I?
Right.
And so, I mean, that's the downside.
Yeah. And that's why I think Microsoft could approach EA and say, okay, everybody's waiting until your game comes to Game Pass. I'm sure they get some form of the numbers because the subscription is on their platform. So they got to look at it somehow. So they can look at the numbers and say, hey, you know what I mean? We're releasing this game. It does X amount of sales before it comes to EA Access. And then once it goes to our platform, it gets X amount of downloads and becomes, top 5 of Xbox Play games when it comes to EA Access. How about, we send you X amount of dollars. The game releases day and date, and it'll be on Game Pass. Microsoft could leverage it if they really wanted to, I think.
It'd be a huge contract and a lot of money on Microsoft's part.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, you locking up 6 to 8 extra titles that release day and date. You locking up all the sports game fans who the guys who only buy Madden, you know what I mean, or FIFA every year, they already in. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know. It's just something I was thinking about.
It's a great idea. I would love for that to happen. I would pay 15 a month knowing I'm getting the new live Madden, FIFA, and every year, every couple months. Yeah, man.
Do whatever else comes out that you know what I mean. What made me really think about this is when they showed Anthem on the stage last year at E3. And like,
Right.
Anthem's probably gonna be delayed or whatever. But just think of
Right.
how amazing it would be if they were like Anthem was releasing on Game Pass day and date.
Whew. Boy, listen.
People will lose their mind.
People lose their mind. Nah, they will lose their mind. I think that's the goal, though. That's the end goal. Like, you're not going to get every third-party game on there, but if you can get the biggest ones, just like Netflix, like they try to drop some of the big movies, like they'll sign the big ones
that's
first.
what HBO does. HBO
That's
gets
what I'm saying.
They get the latest, biggest, newest movie, and everyone's like, "Oh, that's awesome, that's great," and you get it real quick. Like, what was it? Like? Oh, it was like Batman versus Superman was on there like within like 4 months, like some ridiculous time. Like, wow, it was quick.
That's what I'm saying. Like, imagine if, like, let's just say, for example, imagine a game like the next Skyrim comes out, or not Skyrim, the next Elder Scrolls comes out from Bethesda. It launches, and about 3.5 months later, it's about to launch on Game Pass. Like, it's been out for X amount of time, like a quarter, and then it comes out on Game Pass.
I don't think that'll happen with a lot of them. I think what'll happen, like at least in terms of Bethesda, I think other people, like with a lot of these publishers, there's smaller games, sure. They probably will be willing to do Game Pass on those, launching it. But like some of their big games, no. Like imagine if Fallout 4 came out and they sacrificed the nearly 10 million copies sold. Like, they sacrificed that.
I get that. I'm not saying you have to sacrifice it. I'm just saying it could be a thing where a big game that might come out that might not do well or might not sell well.
Exactly. Like the one you're not entirely sure about.
But then every once in a while, you're able to snag a big title and get it on there 3 months after it drops. You know what I'm saying? Something that's like a single player game, especially single player games that kind of lose longevity after a certain amount of time. And most people pick them up when they get cheaper, like Dishonored. I never played Dishonored until the bundle came out. Had that been on Game Pass, I would have played it a long time ago. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that makes sense. I mean, if you're able to get those type of titles, not the big huge cult faction type games or the huge
we're not talking Elder Scrolls or
we're not
talking GTA,
right? Nothing like that. But you can get yourself a single player experience title and put it on there that's really good and was rated well, but maybe overlooked or maybe overshadowed by something, and get it on there within 3 months, bro. That'd be nice. That would be nice. All right. So listen, man, do we have any other questions before we head out? We are talking into the next day. We are burning the midnight oil at this point. And again, I want to thank everybody for stopping out. P Row, thank you for stopping out. Zeppo, Edge Excel, thank you guys as always, greatly appreciative. I don't know what that is. Virales.tv, whatever. Yeah, I guess that's it. So again, listen, man, we'll be back next week, Saturday, between 10 and 10:30 p.m. I say that because, again, I have children. They are maniacs. I don't know what is wrong with these kids, but they are absolutely insane. My kids are nuts, and they drive me crazy, but I love them to death, and I can never get them to bed on time because it's always something. So that's why I say between 10 and 10:30, but we definitely try to keep it consistent and launch a show every Saturday night. Keep an eye out for the new channel coming next month. Got a lot of things that I'm working on, talking to a lot of people, working on a lot of projects. I plan to do a project with Anchorman V. He doesn't know this yet, so I'm going to announce it right now. We're going to do a battle. We're going to have the top 5 best cartoons from the 80s and 90s. I'm going to be 80s. He's going to be 90s. He's going to pick his best top 5 90s cartoons, since he's a 90s head and I'm an 80s head. I always think 80s cartoons is better than 90s cartoons, without question. He thinks otherwise. Well,
the question is, what criteria are we basing this off of? Like just epic factor, or are we talking about like
whatever you feel is whatever top 5 cartoons you believe is better than anything from the 80s, which is just damn near impossible. And possible.
Now, are we concluding like their launch year or like the bulk of their run? That's the question. Like okay, like if a game comes out like if a show comes out like in 1989, but it had 5 seasons going into like 94, does that count as an 80s or a 90s thing?
That thing is not really if it came out in the 80s, the 80s thing.
All right, so we're counting it when it first launched. That's what we're counting it.
When it launched, whenever it debuted, if it debuted in 89 and if it debuted in the fall or winter of 89 and rolled into 90s, it is an 80s cartoon.
All right.
You got to pick 5. I'll pick 5. We'll come together. We'll build a top 5 countdown and we'll run it and let the fans decide what they think is best. Now, listen, that's just one thing. Exactly. Ninja Turtles. Listen, that's just one thing. You know what I'm saying? But again, I'm going to have a bunch of content around, that. Just doing little top 5 stuff, top 10 stuff, little conversations, little shots and stuff like that right there. And of course, I'll have the regular podcast, which I haven't come up with a name yet. I'm going to do a vote on Twitter. So if you're following me on Twitter, if you're following Tick Podcast on Twitter, make sure you vote on the next podcast name for the Last Sun Network. I would greatly appreciate everybody's support in this. I can't think of a name other than, I don't know. I don't want to give it away, but make sure you tune in on Twitter and check that out. B, you got anything going on? Anything popping?
Nothing too crazy yet, man. Everybody's still, trying to get ready for the beginning of the year. So, but we gonna have something cooking up for 2018, man. Getting back to what we used to do. So definitely expect that.
Definitely, without question. I'm definitely going to reach out to Mad Booty. I'm trying to get as many people on as possible. So keep an eye out for that. We'll let you know when those shows go live and, get back to doing what we do best, what makes us the premier podcast for Xbox. So again, I'm your host, KLR SKLL, MB Money 101. We are the premier podcast for Xbox, Tick Podcast, and we're off this planet. You guys have a great night. Peace.